Welcome back to the beautiful OGN Super Arena in sunny Southern California for more CRL West action. Hello, I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me, as always, my buddy Andrew Guy for some more great Clash Royale action. This weekend was absolutely insane. We saw some teams mix things up and take some big victories. Of course, there was the great performance of Surgical Goblin and Canario in 2v2, which showed just their versatility, but also how important that 2v2 set is. And Andrew, walk us through how our match goes down today and why that set's so important.
Yeah, one of the biggest things about CRL West in the Season 2 is the importance of 2v2 and everyone paying attention to that very first set. After set number 1, we move into King of the Hill, a best-of-5 set, followed by the 1v1 tie-breaking best-of-3 set, where each team's best 1v1 specialist will be going head-to-head to take the match.
And if you make it all the way there, Andrew, the pressure is on because these 12 teams are vying for just 3 spots at the World Cyber Games in Xi'an, China, where they will face off against their CRL Asia and CRL China counterparts to see who can be the best in the world for this first part split. And right now, some teams are already starting to pull away in our standings. Andrew, let's walk through where our teams are currently sitting on the ladder.
Yeah, we check out this very first match of the season was Pain and Cream Esports. Now at the top, both 3-1. Immortals with their first loss have now dropped to 2-1, along with Team Liquid and Complexity all tied at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As we get into the middle of the pack, we've got 4 teams that are tied up essentially. Tribe and Fnatic at 2-2, SK Gaming at 1-1, as well as Energy at 1-1. And now we get to the very bottom. Misfits still looking for that very first match win, hopefully today over Cream for them. Team Queso at 1-3, and Dignitas also at 1-3.
As Andrew just mentioned, Misfits and Cream going head-to-head today, and that's part of our triple-header lineup. And Misfits and Cream, of course, Cream top of the standings, Misfits near at the bottom, but also some pretty big-time matches that might define seasons today.
Yeah, Tribe Gaming going up next against Immortals, and lastly of the day, Team Queso and Energy really looking to set the pace for the rest of their season. They will be the last match of the day.
It's going to be crazy again. Like, so much will be decided by the next few matches. At this point, going 4-1 is very different than going 3-2. And some teams making that decision, making that choice today of what their future is going to hold. And right now, 2 of those squads are entering into the arena for some Clash Royale. Let's go down to the floor and join Cream Esports and Misfits Gaming.
Yes, as you said, Rich, Cream and Misfits, number 12 and number 2 going head-to-head. Misfits looking for their very first victory, but Cream and Misfits have both not won a 2v2 set yet. So we talked about how important it is to take that first set, how much of a momentum it sets for the rest of the match. Let's see which one of them gets their first 2v2 set victory today.
On the left-hand side in front of the blue tower, you see Misfits sporting these fresh new jackets. Those things are slick. And of course, it's Baron, Trainer Chris, Low-Eye, and the man who has really shown to be a King of the Hill expert, Wings, rounding thing out with their manager Adam along with them as well. Heading over to the other side, Andrew.
Yeah, on the other side we have Cream Esports today coming out with the usual suspects. We've got Jose Brian, Lindsay, Diego E, and Flash. Their coaches are out there with them as well. And this team is looking to take first place today. With this match victory, that will put them at 4-1, and they will edge out their rivals, Pain Gaming.
Everyone knows that Jose Brian is a fantastic world-class player.
Absolutely.
The question is whether or not that translates when you have the cameras and the lights in your face.
It's a very real thing. And Jose Brian, as you said, one of the best in the world. He's been 1-7 in games here at CRL. So you've got to think some of that is going to be nerves. But let's see if he gets over his nerves right now as we hop into the first game of our 2v2 set.
So here we go. Cream, top of your screen. Misfits at the bottom. And Cream opening up immediately. Lava Hound, and you see a Giant Skeleton, Dark Prince, Graveyard push opposite lane.
Very, very aggressive. Now that Inferno Tower will take out the Giant Skeleton. Not a lot tanking for those Skellies in the back from the Graveyard. A poison came down anyways, and that was a very clean defense by Cream.
Not just clean, but perfect. 25-34 still sitting on that tower. So, you know, you think maybe you'll catch him off guard, go opposite lane, but with the Inferno Tower and poison in cycle, that did not pay off.
Yeah, had the Dark Prince gotten in front of the Giant Skeleton, they maybe would have been a little bit more effective, seeing that the Giant Skeleton would have survived longer due to that Inferno Tower being tanked for by the Prince. But that was not the case. The freeze comes down from Misfits, and that is a lot of damage on the tower, a lot of skellies. Good job holding the spell for just a moment there to make sure you got the most efficient use out of it. But they did take a lot of damage, and that Baby Dragon is still on the tower with the Mega Minion. That is huge.
So here we go. Misfits currently in the lead. Cream Esports going to Lava Hound once again. They have really enjoyed Lava Hound variants so far in 2v2.
And
of course, they haven't won with it yet.
That's very true. And you saw some of the maybe frustration with miscommunication on the side of Cream Esports between Flash and Jose Brian. Now, one misclick, one slight miscommunication can do exactly what that did for them right there in taking their tower below 500 HP. That is why the teams that have practiced the most 2v2 together, that have been together the longest, seem to be the most successful.
On one hand, in 2v2, if you make a mistake, often your teammate has the elixir or something to deal with to cover up for it. But because your opponents are also putting double the amount of troops and spells on the board, one mistake, if you don't have something to catch up for it, can be even more devastating than in 1v1.
And if they did keep committing to that defense on the right-hand side, they may have had...
Look at that Graveyard Freeze. Misfits takes command of this game going into the final minute of regulation.
You know, and with all the splash troops that they have, they already have the Giant Skeleton down up front to play some massive defense with that cleanup on the bomb. The poison comes down. This is definitely going to go to Misfits in game number 1. Cream just not having enough answers, and Misfits really had their number. Great offense and defense from the team on the bottom of your screen.
And we really have not seen Graveyard work out very well in 2v2 thus far, so this is kind of a big shift in the meta for a moment. It might just be a matchup situation for them. Obviously, there are some challenges for Cream if they don't have that poison and cycle, but this is one of the very few. Oh, look at this, very nice and tight down to 927. Yeah. Can this final salvo do it? That is not going to be enough. Misfits makes it, Cream made it interesting, but Misfits gets the win. Here we are in game number 2 of 2v2. Baby Dragons meeting at the river. Currently Misfits, as you can see on the left hand of your screen, up by 1. So now Cream's turn to go Graveyard, and they're going Graveyard Freeze. Poison comes down in response. Ram Riders from Misfits. You know, one difference we saw in the deck that Misfits just ran was going single Graveyard rather than the double Graveyard we saw a lot last week.
Yeah, I mean, double Graveyard is... It's tough, right? Because using Graveyard defensively is not really that successful or effective usually. We saw it used, I think, once last week on defense, and it just wasn't the way to go. So when you have 2 Graveyards in your 16 cards, you might be left wanting quite a bit defensively.
It's a lot of commitment to deck space when you have 2 Graveyards in there.
Yeah, and the double Graveyard doesn't really ever work when you try to use 2 Graveyards on one tower, and also splitting your Graveyards it's just tough. So I like that.
And now you see here Cream going double Graveyard, so we'll see if they prove us wrong in the next 90 seconds or so.
P.E.K.K.A Ram Rider with the lightning in hand.
We have not yet seen Ram Rider, I don't believe, from Misfits. They've run some Royal Giant, some Minor Control. Switching things up here, and Graveyard Freeze Poison does come down.
And these are pretty successful little attempts at taking towers, you know. That's a lot of damage down. 1,200 HP already down on the bottom left-hand tower for Misfits. And almost no damage done on Cream's tower.
Entering into double elixir time, and now Misfits starting to pick up the pace with these Graveyards, getting down pretty early, although the double Baby Dragon, Skeletons, Ice Wiz should defend well. Offensive Poison in support. Getting some good value on the troops and tower.
Very good value there from Cream. Right now, Misfits looking to kind of find their momentum, find their rhythm, because Cream's kind of keeping them against the ropes with these alternating Graveyards. And a very nice high Inferno Tower met with the E-Wiz.
That's the problem with the high Inferno Tower. Exactly right there, is an E-Wiz can drop and take care of it very easily. So Inferno Tower will do some of its job, but now a lot of elixir left for Misfits to play defense.
And Misfits here trying to swap lanes, stop pretty easily with the Dark Prince and an Ice Spirit. Only 953 HP remains on the bottom left-hand tower.
Sudden death overtime, and now Misfits has to really play clean. They're going to drop down to 832, 805, so Poison Graveyard, 684. This is getting very, very close to the death zone for Misfits. They need to make something happen, and more importantly, keep the pressure on so they are not playing defense the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of running into a wall every single attempt that they have to try to put any offensive push together. Anything they mount off of their like any counter push that they mount off their defense doesn't ever seem to be breaking through. They're just having a really, really tough time.
And this is all that Cream needs right now is a couple skeleton hits on each one of these graveyard pushes. They don't even really need to support them every single time, just get a couple skellies in.
Yeah, they honestly, they just need to graveyard and poison out. And then, there you see right there, Cream Esports takes that second game with ease. Now we go to the tie-breaking Game 3 of set number 1.
Game number 3, an all-important one at that. Andrew, as I said, top of the show, I really do believe the winner of this 2v2 set will take the match.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And if it does end up going the other way, the other team is going to have to do so much and honestly do something they haven't really done yet at CRL West. And Misfits opening up with a Graveyard Freeze, and Cream responding with the double Graveyard Freeze. So let's see how these teams adjust in game number 3.
Well, looks like we're going to see some Graveyard, that's for sure. Probably from both sides now that we're looking at it. Yep, it really looks like it's going to be Graveyard from both players.
Yeah, most likely you see the Dark Prince on both sides. You see the Ice Wizard, Baby Drag.
Giant Skeleton.
Yeah, Giant Skeleton just seems like kind of the MVP of 2v2, providing so much defensive and offensive utility, because the moment you start to ignore a Giant Skeleton on offense, somehow it gets to your tower. We've seen that happen a couple times, and it's just devastating.
Even if all you're getting out of it is the Giant Skeleton NATO combination for that Death Bomb.
Yeah.
Devastating as well. That's
wow.
a beautiful tornado freeze by Misfits.
Yeah.
Wow, that Musketeer's going to go down. Oh, wow, survived by just 1 HP, but that was fantastic play, getting that Muskie in, freezing her as well, getting tower damage, troop damage. Very well played, Misfits.
Yeah, very, very aggressive, but very well executed from Misfits, now taking a command, well, a substantial lead.
I'm really surprised that didn't pay off more.
Yeah,
they didn't have that much in support behind it yet.
Exactly. That's why, you know, it was a little early and aggressive, but as you said, I think it caught them off guard, caught Cream off guard, and got a lot of damage in on that tower.
Entering into double elixir time. Cream with a slight elixir advantage at the moment.
Let's see if this high Inferno tower pays off again.
I don't know if Misfits is playing, they're probably not playing an EWIZ, so the high Inferno tower definitely less of a risky move than it was last time around.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to keep your opponent's units from crossing the river when they have an Inferno tower right there. As you see, this Ice Wizard still catches the Musketeer a second late, and the Musketeer is still across the river getting shots in and being tanked for by the Skellies.
Very well handled by Misfits was that Graveyard Freeze play. Giant Skeleton soaking up a lot of damage. Not to mention the Dark Goblin with its fast attack speed, cleaning things up very well.
Late freeze coming down. Not a lot of damage in on the tower.
Final 20 seconds of regulation, and Misfits still ahead, although not by as much. And that high Inferno tower, as long as they can defend it, that might keep on paying off for Cream.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It might be a moment where Misfits needs to think about freezing that Inferno tower, or they're going to have to save their Dark Goblin, kind of pick it away from a distance.
Defensive freeze this time, seeing so much coming down the lane. So you saw Misfits able to work on that Inferno tower because it was not defended.
And the Giant Skeleton is there. That is going to do it. You can see Flash and Jose Brian cannot believe the Giant Skeleton got all the way to the tower. They were distracted by so much other stuff going on. The freeze, you know, it just wasn't there. Well done, Misfits, in set number 1.
So here we go into King of the Hill with Misfits in a fairly good spot to add another win to their record this season, and opening up for Misfits at King of the Hill It's the new addition to this team that had formed last season under C9's banner, Loweye.
Yeah, Loweye looking to make his very first head-to-head appearance and hopefully taking a W. And one interesting fact here from Misfits is Wings is the only person on their whole squad to win a game in King of the Hill.
It's been a tough start so far for the Bad Bunnies, but Loweye hoping to right the ship. Flash, on the other hand, has made 3 appearances and 3 wins thus far.
Yep. Baby Dragon, Dark Prince coming out from Loweye so far.
Not a whole lot happening as of yet. Both players taking their time. A lot riding on this for both squads. Of course, Cream Esports, a win today would give them sole share of the first place position, and a win for Misfits could be the first step of turning around their season.
Yeah, and you saw there Loweye a little frustrated with something that was going on his screen. Not exactly sure what it was. Both these guys playing very, very conservative here in the very first game of King of the Hill. Both of them, as you can see, just burning through their elixir, waiting for their opponent to blink first.
So probably going to do the dance now until 5 seconds before our double elixir time to see who pulls the trigger. Flash with that giant snowball potentially. Hey, you don't think you would wait this long on Ram Rider?
And you see there Loweye using a little a hand warmer, it appears, or something to soak up the hand sweat. The last thing you want to do is misplace a card or not place a card due to the condensation on your hands. And that 5-second mark now coming. Golem come down in the back. Double Golem.
For both.
And you see here Flash now with his Golem in the corner. That Golem cannot get NATO'd to the King Tower. As it meets Loweye's Golem and they cross the river together, it will push Flash's outside of that range.
Good read by Flash, seeing the splash troops here, recognizing the possible danger of facing a NATO Golem deck.
Yeah, very, very nice heads-up play there by Flash. We'll see if it pays off. A lot of damage coming in, or a lot of DPS troops here cleaning up that Golem relatively easily for both troops, honestly. And now you can see Loweye adjusting where he's placing his Golem.
Although Loweye to the outside, not facing Tornado on his end. Got the better of that first exchange. Although 2 Princes down, really, really nasty.
Yeah. See here, gonna have to play. Yep, Dark Prince comes down to meet the charge of that Prince. A raged up Dark Prince will need to be responded to. 1 Baby Dragon Belch, and that could be a very, very big play moving down as we see double overtime, or excuse me, overtime coming our way.
So this Lightning could play a very big role in how the next 3 minutes play out. Might see it come behind here in a second. The Prince takes easy care, and there you go.
Ooh.
The Prince takes easy care of that Golem.
One of those lightning bolts was completely absorbed by the Dark Prince shield, however. Not ideal for Flash.
Lumberjack getting to work chopping down that Golem. Very, very nice NATO play, and now Loweye in a decent spot. Not able to get around to a Golem again very soon, though, obviously.
And he's got a lot on the field right now. Lightning comes down, defensive Lightning, but that is a very healthy Lumberjack. If it takes out the E-Wiz, we could be, oh, wow.
There you go. Wow, that was massive. You see the victory celebration from Loweye. He knows he just got it.
That Dark Prince getting through. Lightning comes down, and a great first head-to-head appearance from Misfits Loweye.
Next up for Loweye, the young star from Cream Esports has yet to make his full splash here at CRL West. It's Jose Brayan.
Yeah, Jose Brayan had his first and only head-to-head victory against Surge TS in his very first match.
So Loweye opens up with Minor.
And looking at Loweye's record last year, you know, he was a decent head-to-head player, really. You know, he was 5-4 in 1v1 sets, 1-2 in King of the Hill, but I think having him as a 1v1 specialist wasn't ideally where he wanted to be.
And Loweye now just came out with the only undefeated deck in all of CRL West right now. The Minor Prince with Spear Goblins currently sitting at an astounding 8 wins and no losses.
Yeah, it's fascinating considering last year how much those control decks struggled. And let's see if he can keep that at 100%.
Minor Control overall performing very well at 75% win rate over 12 games thus far in the season. Of course, right now, falling behind a little bit to Jose Brian.
Yeah, and that is not what you want to do when you're running a control deck. You know, you want to play very, very sound defense and chip away, because the moment that your opponent, or that you have to start playing from behind, it really gives your opponent kind of a cushion, luxury to just keep the pressure up.
Although Jose Brian might be running that same Golem deck here one more time. You see the Prince, you see the Skeletons. It's a possibility, and if he is, Loweye is going to have both the Prince and Inferno Tower to deal with that.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how that does match up. A nice predictive snowball. And Loweye, I think, almost recognized that he played the Spear Goblins in the same spot again, having that Minor ready to go.
And there you go. So goleming up is Jose Brian as we reach that 5-second mark. The question is, can he get past the Inferno Tower Prince combination of Loweye?
Both those cards coming down right now, as you said, the strongest defensive cards. Not a great use of his Spear Goblins, getting one Baby Belchin from that Baby Dragon, just cleaning them all up. A bit of a waste of 2 Elixir. Yeah,
the Lightning doing a good job clearing the path. So right now it is Jose Brian in the driver's seat, and with a little bit of spell cycle here, putting himself inside of 2 Lightnings.
Yeah, or a Lightning and
couple snowballs.
Yep, exactly, which seems very easy. The Prince does get on the tower. Those are 2 big stabs from that Lance.
This is going to be a very difficult sequence here for Loweye to hold up against the young upstart. Nice job of the Prince to pull that Lightning, put it at 102. And Loweye, he knows that Lightning's not in cycle, but also he needs to get back and save those Spear Goblins. He knows he's in trouble. Could he get a Lightning block here and extend his life? We will see as we go into sudden death overtime.
And now he finally gets the Minor Poison combination down, but it will be too little, too late.
Beautiful
he does get the
Lightning block.
Wow, and Jose probably not too happy with that, but he knows he still has the game in the bag. Now another snowball is all it's going to take Loweye down. Just gotta cycle back around.
You can't block a snowball. Perfectly picks up the Minor to the back with the Skeletons. That's probably going to be it here, and you see a little BM there from the young star, shaking the chain back and forth. Jose Brian takes out Loweye in game number 2. So Loweye goes down, but he did his job, got the 1 win. And Andrew, if every player on your team gets a win, you win King of the Hill.
Yeah, and you know, both these teams still have their home run hitters left coming out. Wings right now for Misfits, and Lindsay up 3rd for Cream. So if like you said, if your first and second guy can get 1 or 2 wins between them, you're in a very good position.
So aggressive opening here from Wings, and up against what's most likely Ice Wiz NATO and Tombstone.
I was going to say 8 Elixir spent on that defense from Jose Brian, and Wings trying to take advantage of it right now with the balloon coming in. Snowball, and that will get a big hit. Oh, wow. Forcing even more Elixir out of Jose Brian, but very well played.
Last minute fireball. Death damage still gets on and does not quite get that swing. So here we are, first minute down, and both noses a little bloodied, but no one seriously hurt so far. Minor to the safe spot one more time, so we'll see how long it takes Wings to pull the trigger and start moving the Minor. So far, though, if they're not going to pick it up, Wings will just be content to send it to that same spot.
Yeah, and right now, Jose Brian just kind of playing it cool until he hits double Elixir time. That's when you're going to really see this deck take off.
Well, Jose Brian doesn't have anything that's really excellent for picking up that Minor in the safe spot.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that final card, probably a Royal Giant, maybe a Golem.
Yeah, it could also be the Graveyard, but yeah, we're probably looking
it could
at
be
Royal
Graveyard
Giant.
as well.
I'm thinking what needs to happen. It's tough because, you know, the best way for him to pick up the Miner is by playing the Tombstone in the back, but when you're playing against a Balloon deck, you really want something to pull that Balloon to the center of the map, so he's kind of forced to pick and choose or pick his own poison, if you will.
Yeah, Miner Rascals Loon, such a frustrating deck to contend with. So far, it's done so-so at a 33% win rate, so only over 3 games. Wings looking maybe to even up the score on that deck.
Yeah, and the most dangerous thing about playing against that deck is if you ever overcommit or overspend on defense in one lane, they can punish you with 7 Elixir in the other with something that could take your tower.
So we are in sudden death overtime. Jose Brian has not pulled out his win condition yet. So far playing defense, and Wings keeping the pressure on. There you go. So it is Royal Giant, a very kind of last season construction.
Yeah, and we're seeing that get more and more popular as this season moves on. The defensive capabilities of this deck, as you saw him basically use for the first 2 minutes of the game, are very, very powerful.
And that was a lot of shots from the Royal Giant, so suddenly Jose Brian in the lead as we move into sudden death.
And now you see Wings switching lanes here, opting to go opposite of his weaker tower.
Gets the Inferno Tower down, but Bar Barrel picks it up. Fireball inside. This is a nice sequence here from Wings.
Yeah,
from Jose Brian.
Yeah, very nice from Jose Brian, getting one more hit in on the tower, and that is because of that Fireball.
Perfect timing on the Bar Barrel Fireball, and now it's Wings' turn trying to sneak through a Balloon. Miner to the back of the
look at
tower.
that.
Ice Wiz picks it up perfectly.
A great pickup there, and Wings honestly really, really needing that Mega Minion to go down. And that Balloon is getting very close. Death damage will get in and should kill that Ice Wizard.
So Wings does take the lead, although that Tornado to pull the Balloon over to the Tombstone worked out well to save any extra damage, and now choose the Tombstone behind. That's not a great time for that Tombstone to go to the back, though.
That is a rough time for the Tombstone to go to the back. The Balloon should be coming in very, very healthily. There's the Nado. Maybe going to see a Fireball as well if he can get to the Elixir. Not quite there yet.
Oh my gosh, one drop down. Does he get a second one off? Not quite.
That was about as close as it gets to not having a second Balloon drop down. And Jose Brian just skating by on the skin of his teeth.
And that RG not going to get through, so now Wings feeling pretty good. And again, Tombstone behind, so Jose Brian relying purely on his Ice Wiz, Nado, and Baby Dragon to deal. I guess Mega Minion as well.
Baby Dragon and Ice was down in the opposite lane, however. Balloon coming in. There's the Nado. Will be defended very, very well.
Remember, this is King of the Hill, so if it does go all the way to the final tick of time, the single lowest tower gives its owner the loss and the opponent the win, but right now Wings keeping pressure on the right-hand side down to 396.
And he's just keeping up the pressure because he knows how hard it is for Jose to mount an offensive push when playing defense. And this is kind of one of those moments where both teams are going all in.
Bar Barrel was just not able to get there in time. And now Wings goes. Beautiful, beautiful call by Jose Brian. Wings goes to the number 3 spot. Jose Brian picks it up. Will get a couple of shots here down to 276.
That Snowball doing a great job of slowing that tower down enough to get one Miner swing in, a big Miner swing.
If Jose Brian wins this, it's going to be all about that Miner pickup we just saw a moment ago. Waiting, Nado's the Balloon over to the Tombstone. RG not going to survive the Inferno Tower.
Yep, Snowball's going to come in. Miner should be coming down relatively soon to try to take out that tower. Bomb, the death damage will get in on that tower. You see Wings there, very pleased with himself. And Wings doing what he does now, 4-2 in King of the Hill. And now the 1v1 specialist for both these squads coming out and meeting each other on the battlefield. One team trying to get out of last place, the other trying to get into first.
Very well put there, Andrew, and this is going to be a big question. The game we were talking about, a chance to see before the match started today. As we were getting ready, the idea of these two playing head-to-head. Lindsay, who's been playing so well this season, Wings, who's been about 50-50 so far this season, but of course was fantastic last year and has played well, just run into a couple of brick walls, you might say, so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, his losses are coming from people like the God RF, who was on an insane 9-game win streak. You have Wen, who also took him down, and Javi Catorce. So legitimately and literally 3 of the best 1v1 players are the people that have taken Wings out. But that's that's what CRL's all about.
Yeah, and that win game, I think that was a 4-game set, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I believe so. That was where a draw came in game number 3.
All right, so RG Furnace Lumberjack for Wings. And for those of you still keeping score about RG Furnace, going into this game, RG Furnace is at an astoundingly bad 30.7% win rate, despite being played over 12% of our games.
Yeah, oh, and a very nice Ewiz coming down to stop the charge from that Prince. Both these teams doubling down on the river, the battle at the bridge here. And it looks like it'll kind of come out even. Oh, wow, actually very, very nicely played by Wings, keeping his Ewiz alive and raged up, getting 2 big shots in on that tower.
Lindsay a little frustrated with himself in that moment.
Yeah, might not seem like a lot, but to all those competitive players in Lindsay, they all know how important those 2 hits were.
So most likely giant double Prince here for Lindsay. And you can see why he's holding off a bit, because that Lumberjack Furnace combination is going to be very difficult to find his way through. Really going to have to hope that he plays defense here well enough to mount a good counter push.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it's going to be all about for both these squads, honestly, but Wings has just been a little bit more aggressive with his Royal Giant. Oh, wow, and that's a big lightning coming in.
Very, very nice work for the Misfits player on that lightning. And Zappy's doing a good job, not just stunning, but retargeting the Baby Dragon.
Yeah, Baby Dragon played in back, so those Zappies do cross the river. Snowball comes in. Lumberjack is on the Prince.
And the Skeletons cannot get through to pick up the Lumberjack. They help a bit with the Royal Giant, but Lindsay still behind here against Wings as we go into sudden death.
Baby Dragon comes down to defend that Ewiz. And the Lumberjack doing Wings doing a really good job of keeping alive his Electro Wizard, which has been kind of the MVP for him this game.
This would be a lot of damage here for Wings, and to get at least a couple shots. Zappy's doing a good job of mitigating some of that damage.
Wow.
Wow. Very, very nice work. So now it's Lindsay's turn to try to respond. He just has not been able to break through into the second level.
Yeah, kind of throwing everything down at the river here. A lightning comes down, a very nice lightning from Wings, kind of picking and choosing what he needed to do to play the most effective and efficient defense, and that lightning was it.
But now that Zappy, just the lone little Zappy, making it very, very close. Lindsay now less than 100 HP behind, and he's playing Graveyard Double Prince.
Finally comes down. And you figured with the way that Lindsay was playing that it really wasn't going to be a giant.
Yeah.
But now finally playing his win condition. And Wings has adequate answers, I guess, since there's no freeze. You know, the Lumberjack in the back will do a very, very good job of cleaning up those skeletons.
We have not seen Lindsay play Graveyard yet. This deck has made 1 appearance, had 1 win thus far this season.
Lindsay now in the lead by just under 200 HP.
Final minute, and now things get very tight. You do have the lightning versus the poison.
And that RG will get a shot in. Maybe 2. There it is.
Oh, Zappy's just not down in time. You see Wings very happy. That was, by the way, Wings' very happy face.
I was just going to say, really?
Final 45 seconds. If Lindsay is going to make a move, it has to come now.
Yeah, and honestly, Wings... Yep, I was going to say, Wings is going to want to play very offensive, going to play very aggressive, because as we've said many times before, sometimes a good defense is offense. And if Lindsay is distracted playing defense, he cannot get another Graveyard down.
And here we go. This is probably the final graveyard push. He's going to make 21 seconds left. Snowball trying to open things up. Poison not coming down. Lindsay knows that is it.
Lightning should be coming down for Wings here any second, just to kind of seal, nail in the coffin victory. There we go. And tower down.
Attempted lightning block does not pull it off. Wings, so pumped, so excited, clutches up for his squad one more time. 3 up, 3 down. He continues to be fantastic in King of the Hill.
Yeah, and this was a huge, much-needed victory for Misfits Gaming. Now, every team can struggle coming into the seasons, but it's about how you respond to that struggle, what you learn, how you go back to practice. And you see here, Misfits at 0-3, now taking their first victory over the number 2 team, Cream Esports, who honestly probably don't know what just hit them. That's a 2-set sweep, Rich. Again, dominating in head-to-head play. Lindsay falling a little bit short. Obviously a very good showing by Cream today, but Misfits really needed that.
Yeah, Lindsay just could not get across the bridge and get a chance to get that graveyard down. And when you're playing graveyard, that's so frustrating. So many times you end up with a place where you just cannot make it happen. You play 6 minutes and are never able to drop the darn thing.
Yeah, and you saw exactly Wings playing very, very aggressive, keeping that graveyard off the field. Very frustrating for Lindsay, but Wings does it once again.
Let's go down to the floor and talk to our winners.
All right, guys, I have Wings here with me. Congratulations. That was some serious offense playing. Now, I got to know, man, what's it feel like taking out that top team here on this stage?
To be honest, we always go in games with the mindset that we're just as good as any team, no matter if they're, number 1 in the standings or less, so that way the nerves and intimidation are minimized.
So, you're new to the squad. What do you think you bring to the squad?
Last season, CRL 1, I was more of a King of the Hill specialist, and this season I've been looking to repeat that, so I'm more of a 1v1 player for them, I would say.
I want to know, let's talk about these Electric Wizard plays. They were extremely impressive. You want to break that down for me?
Yeah, so the E was... it has 2 stuns. It can stun 2 troops at a time, and it's a ranged unit. So basically what I want to do when playing Uis is play far enough away so it doesn't get killed by the enemy troops, and so it gets it stuns troops like Prince and Dark Prince. So you saw in the last game he had both princes. So I was sure to save my Uis for both princes so that it got as much value as possible.
I mean, those offense plays were amazing as well. You also did like a little happy dance up in the tower. I saw that. What's that feel like, when you're kind of in that last bit and you know confidently that you're going to take this down?
There's definitely a sigh of relief that goes over you, and it definitely feels good to get a first win.
Well, congratulations, guys, and I'm so excited to see the next plays, but we're going to send it to the desk right now.
Thanks a lot, Pau, and it's wonderful to see how much Wings has grown up since last season. Already a great player, but he looks so much more comfortable this time around.
Yeah, and you saw there, he playing very, very efficiently with his E-Wiz, knowing that those stuns are devastating coming from both of those princes. And again, that's got to be a huge confidence boost for the Misfits squad.
So there you go, Misfits taking a big win, which will help them a lot. But next up, we have another very important match, Tribe Gaming facing off against Immortals.
Now Immortals looking to take back a game that they just lost, falling down 2-1 now with such a great start, really.
Yeah, I mean, they were off to the races and then ran into the new and slightly added to or improved Team Liquid with Canario and threw a bit of a curveball at them, bringing out Surge and Canario in 2v2.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about attitude, though, is that afterwards, Immortals, Okrat came up to me and said, we learned a lot from that gameplay. So want to see what adjustments they make. Of course, they're up against Tribe Gaming, who is starting to feel the motion here in CRL West. We're about to see how they're going to come out and what they'll be bringing against one of the best 2v2 duos in the country.
And speaking about one of the best 2v2 duos in the country, Tribe fell to one of the best teams here in CRL West in their last showing, going up against Pain Gaming, falling in 2v2 to Surge TS and Renan Kava, and then eventually losing it in King of the Hill. Now, Royal being considered one of the best players in the world. You can see that he is their second in the lineup for Immortals. Had his very first showing at CRL, and it didn't really go the way that he wanted it to.
Look, you're not going to win every single game, and remember last season, Immortals started off with a bit of a stumble, both in 2v2 and 1v1, and once they got their feet under them, they righted the ship and took the North American Championship. Of course, this season already 2-1, but they're up against Tribe Gaming, who really are looking fantastic. B-Rad and J Monty have been great in 2v2. Tommy has thrown some big blows, and of course, Spades and Nitram both have had their moments to shine. Hopefully, a chance to do that again today.
Yes, and then you can see Matt Raider and Elke, their coaches, there at the very, very end. A big part of why Tribe has found the success that they have this season. And on the other side, the North American champions of CRL Season 1, the God RF Royal Lapakati, their new addition, the Mortar Master, and of course, crap, Trainer Luis, a very vocal coach about how successful he believes his team is going to be.
Well, there is absolutely nothing that he doesn't do with gusto, including coaching this squad. Now, I love the addition of Lapakati to this team. Some people mentioned how frightening it was the way that he smiled and danced on stage during his last game. When he is in the groove, he is a very, very frightening young man.
Yeah, and honestly, that energy is infectious. You love watching someone that is in their element, having a great time. But now, 2v2 set coming. Let's see, Immortals, Tribe Gaming, match number 2.
You know, Andrew, we've talked a lot about the skill and synergy of Awcraft, the God RF. Don't forget, Tribe is undefeated in 2v2 sets this season. Specifically, this duo, J Monty and B-Rad, are 3-0, 6-1 in 2v2 games.
Yeah, and Tommy and Nitram also picked up a W in that column. They're 2-1 in games. So Tribe here kind of unsung heroes in the 2v2 column, whereas you have Awcrap and the God RF, they are 5-2 in games and 2-1 in sets.
Well, you know, last season, AC and RF really impressed with the way they performed in 2v2, while Tribe was sort of 50-50 in their 2v2. So, you know, until you get to this stage in the season, you can't really see how great a squad is. But at 4-0 overall in the opening set, Tribe has really made it known that this is a hard spot to beat them, and they deserve to be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, being 4-0 in 2v2 is such a huge factor in your team moving forward. You know, we've talked about it almost tirelessly, how important that 2v2 set is to set the momentum up for the rest of the match. And, you know, Tribe taking that W every single time is one of the reasons why they are where they are.
Well, I mean, we just saw what happened in the Misfits match against Cream. Taking that 2v2 set gave Wings some coverage to perform really well in that King of the Hill. Of course, Loi was up in the mix as well. So here we go. It's Graveyard for Awcrap and the God RF. A nice pickup bottom left a moment ago on the Dark Prince with the Miner by Tribe.
Yep, and Lava Miner coming from Tribe.
So 2 Graveyard pushes down, and you know, even though you haven't blown them out of the water, but I'd say that those are 2 successful Graveyard pushes from the boys in blue.
Yeah, I mean, definitely getting about 600 damage in, 300 each time roughly, and that is not what Tribe wants to happen every single time that interaction goes down, especially here in single elixir.
Great use of cycle cards to take care of the Dark Prince crossover. Very, very nice lightning in return from Tribe.
A big aggressive lightning, allowing that Mega Minion to get a big hit in. The double elixir time you see ticking there, knowing that was coming up, they were able to go aggressive, and that was a huge, huge payoff.
So Awcrap, the God RF, taking big chunks out of that left-hand tower every single time down, but J Monty and B-Rad so far getting some good shots in of their own.
You wonder if this Inferno Tower is going to get started. Yeah, I mean, it's placed very well there for these ranged troops, not being able to cross the river. Tank, that giant skeleton was able to get across and tank a little bit.
This is going to be a big push here. Tribe needs to take some chunks out of that right-hand side to stay in it. Otherwise, they're going to be on their back foot for the rest of the time defending that left-hand lane.
You know, and the double poison here from Immortals does make it very, very difficult for those lava pups to be tanked for effectively by the Miner. However, the lightning plays from Tribe have been very, very good.
Beautiful lightning and very, very nice tornado poison combination.
A huge, huge poison NATO combination, and that is a devastating blow to Immortals, now at a huge deficit.
Graveyard with poison down again.
A couple of those skeletons getting on the tower.
And that lightning was
And
huge.
that-
Poison down as well. Immortals knows that is going to be it. Tribe takes game number 1.
And you see a little communication there between Crab and the God RF. Let's see what they change up in game number 2. And as I was saying, you saw Crab lean over to the God RF, take off his headset and have a few words with him after that first game. And that is one of the reasons why they're one of the most successful duos out there, is the communication with them is endless. They are good friends in real life, and neither of them have any ego when moving forward in their matches. And, you know, on the other side of that, B-Rad and Jay Monty just having a great showing on kind of all on one play. That one play was devastating for Immortals.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty. And I mean, these two guys have been in this situation so many times before. They're both longtime competitors. They're very comfortable with each other, very comfortable with themselves. And you can see that in the way that they can port themselves on stage. You talk about not having egos. Like Jay Monty is someone who's a very positive influence in the community overall. Not just as a really calm and cool player, but also, you know, kind of if people are out there being toxic and not really moving the community in the right direction, he's someone who speaks up and really takes a leadership role.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we need. That's what we need in our community, our pros doing things like that. That very first push here, not very successful from either team. See Lava Miner coming out from Tribe. And honestly, the Baby Dragon has to be the MVP, the highest played card in 2v2. We see it in almost every single deck now that NATO is basically always on the board. Between the 16 cards, there's always at least one Baby Dragon.
More often than not, there's 2, and it seems like there's a Baby Dragon in nearly every single deck. You know, Andrew, I was going through my closet, and I was picking out a shirt for today, and a Baby Dragon handed it to me. They are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
B-Rad, of course, also a fantastic player in his own right, the Miner Master, whose YouTube following has been growing and growing. He launched his channel last season, and I believe it's over 50,000 subscribers already.
Yeah, it's such an enjoyable stream, so much to learn on that. You also got to love B-Rad's attitude on his streams.
So at the moment, Tribe not only on a tear in 2v2, but specifically with Lava Hound, they have yet to lose a game. And at the moment, if things continue the same way, they might continue that streak.
Yeah, this was a great offensive execution here. You got the Lightning coming in, the Miner comes in late, 2 Lava Hounds on the tower, and that is going to be way too much for Immortals to handle. They need to kind of back up, let that tower go down, and reset. And here we see we got the Dark Prince coming across with the Giant Skeleton. The Dark Prince not having enough health really to take out that Inferno Tower from play. Freeze comes in too late and just not enough for Immortals. So 2 up and 2 down very, very quickly for the North American champions.
Very surprising to see Immortals in this position with 2v2. Of course, they started off kind of rough last season. This season opened up with a bang, but now 2 back-to-back. But even more important, there's the dab, the double dab from Jay Monty and B-Rad. More importantly, it's the way that these two are playing together right now. Tribe showing themselves as quite possibly the most dominant 2v2 team in CRL West.
Which is so funny because, you know, Tribe and Energy are 2 of the teams that we've talked about the most that have not been kind of noticed for their 2v2 play, even though it's some of the best out there, some of the best in the world. And some of the teams last year that were the most successful in 2v2, Caso, Immortals, and Complexity, have stumbled a little bit. Rich J. Monty has one of the highest win rates here at CRL combined between his 2v2 sets and King of the Hill. He's at 86%, winning 12 of his overall 14 games.
That's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And again, part of that's the maturity. He's such a focused man, such a focused player. And you know, we talk about whether someone is or is not tiltable, and J-Monty is one of those guys who really isn't very tiltable.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how big of a factor that really is in this game. It is 100% really. You ask any pro, I mean, even any casual player, we all know what it's like when you're playing and you start to get upset and then you start making desperation plays. And J-Monty and honestly the God RF are two players out there that do not tilt.
So Hog EQ from the God RF. Wondering if he is playing the, there we go, the Valkyrie version, as I say, because up against those barbs could be nice. And here we go, balloon for J-Monty.
That is a very, very protected balloon getting through on the tower. Balloon gets through. Now, J-Monty did put up his hand for a half a second. Maybe almost just wondering, he wanted that one last hit, but I think he was wondering if the God RF, why he wasn't really responding.
Nice pickup by RF, but damage done. You know, you got the miner, but the balloon getting all the way through. Really, really beautiful play from J-Monty, piggybacking on those barbs all the way in, and now to a very commanding, if somewhat devilish lead here with 90 seconds left in regulation.
Yeah, that is definitely taking the wind out of the God RF's sails. However, you know, he has played absolutely incredibly in head-to-head play here at CRL. He's 5-2, but, you know, that came with a sweep. And he was 9-1 in games overall before he took those last two losses. There's the EQ.
There you go. There's the Earthquake, and J-Monty content to sit back for a moment. Probably to keep the pressure up on the left while throwing miners on the right, and there we go, miner on the right-hand side.
Perfect snowball comes in, gets those bats out of play.
And Musketeer does connect. That is massive. It is all bad news for RF at the moment.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's one of those moments where even if this does become a two-tower game, that is really not the position the God RF wants to be in. Now, he does get a substantial damage in there with that Hog and EQ push.
A lot committed, though, to that Hog EQ push. Snowball, Hogs, the Hog, and the Earthquake at the same time.
And you see here the balloon being very tanked for by the barbs and then by the miner. Snowball comes in, but the Inferno Tower does do its work.
So RF needs to keep the pressure on. Nice with the high EQ, does pick up the Furnace. Musketeer, though, going to do her job, get no damage there, and the Valkyrie does not pick up the miner. So now in a lot of trouble is the God RF. He needs to keep the pressure on and still defend this balloon miner.
And you see this, the balloon coming in, knowing that if the death damage does hit, that he will take the tower. Again, sometimes the best defense is offense, knowing that all he has to do is get the miner back in with the snowball, and that'll probably be a good night to the God RF. Barbarian on the left-hand tower, pretty inconsequential at this point.
Really not worried about those Valkyrie shots as J-Monty. RF needs to pick this one up. Snowball does get down.
Oh.
Valkyrie gets in just in time.
A very nice snowball Valkyrie pickup.
J-Monty switching lanes here. Has to defend this Hog very, very well. Gonna see the EQ misses.
Wow. Nice job in playing in the same spot as before. Maybe a little bit of mind games here against the God RF. But J-Monty needs to get another miner on that right-hand tower.
Giant snowball comes down, Valkyrie in.
And now the God RF has recognized, okay, I know exactly how to keep that off the tower, but he committed too much on the right, nothing on the left. J-Monty takes down the God RF in King of the Hill game number 1.
So heading into game number 2, the second appearance now by the consensus #1 North America last season, Royal, up against a J-Monty who looks nigh unbeatable at the moment.
Yeah, J-Monty just playing out of his mind now, 13-2 in overall games. And that last game, I do think he got a little loose and fast with his defense on the left-hand side, but I think it was because he felt that that game was pretty much locked away from the beginning. Really well played by him all the way across the board. And there we go.
Oh my gosh, Royal playing Golem, and we did see him play Golem with the Fire Spirits last season. He made a really shocking move where he opened up Golem nearly at the river in one lane, baited out Royal Hogs, and dropped the Fire Spirits in the left lane. So we'll see, obviously not against Royal Hogs in this case, we'll see what kind of trickeration as some might say, he has up his sleeve for this game.
I believe most would call it trickeration, Rich.
Well, you might say trickery. Golem might get on tower, and some good damage in the right-hand lane as well at this point for Royal.
Yeah, and J-Monty played that very well, forcing the Lumberjack to be dropped in the right-hand lane, having the P.E.K.K.A for the left, you know, probably thinking Royal was going to go with Golem because he did not play Golem in his first showing.
So we don't see a lot of Fire Spirits in CRL or in competitive play. If used correctly, though, the damage they do is devastating, especially on defense.
Yeah, the value you can get out of them is incredible.
Kind of surprising to see one get on tower there.
Yeah, and that is not the way that Royal wanted that interaction to go. Or excuse me, J-Wanty wanted that interaction to go. Royal getting his Lumberjack in on that tower, taking the damage lead. And otherwise, you'd probably think Royal's just going to sit back and relax until he gets into double elixir time, not wanting to overcommit. And that is honestly when he is the most dangerous, is when he's comfortable in double elixir time and he's got a Golem in his hand.
Golem overall at a very healthy 58% win rate right now. Bridge spam on the opposite side of it was at a very high win rate before last week and now has dropped down to 44%.
Yeah, week 1, very successful. Week 2 struggled quite a bit. And now you see J-Monty opting to switch lanes. Fire Spirits are going to come in. There they are. Very, very well played. And now he can basically ignore the right-hand side. Oh, wow, he opts to play a Mega Minion. Kind of surprised there. He
might Golem in front of the Mega Minion here. Chooses not to. Instead, Lumberjack's in the back.
Yeah, and if you're playing Golem, you do want to go in, and that's why J-Monty's switching lanes, because he knows that his Golem player is going to want to go into the opponent's weaker and obviously his more damaged tower as well.
Wow, the use of the Ice Spirit and Fire Spirits, Andrew, on the left-hand side was phenomenal. Such low cost, but highly effective defense, and now Royal is just going to town on the right-hand side. The Musketeer does take down the Lumberjack, but those Golemites are taking a chunk out of that right-hand tower, down to 773.
And the Mega Minion getting through on the left-hand side, all things falling in the right way for Royal in this matchup.
So there you go. P.E.K.K.A doesn't get on tower. The Barbarians in the Battle Ram do get a couple of shots, but Royal still looking very comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, J-Monty getting a decent amount of damage in on that left-hand side. Royal still definitely in command.
"40 seconds away in our sudden death overtime period. Both lanes in trouble here for J-Monty, and a beautiful lightning to break up that push before it can even really get started.
And now you can imagine this is where Royal may want to, yep, I was going to say pull that Dark Prince to the opposite lane and then get another big Golem push going down the right.
You can see those Fire Spirits working on so many different levels, whether it is doing some damage, now getting a bit of damage on the left-hand side on tower, but also pulling there. You saw picking up the Bandit and keeping a dash anywhere near the tower for just 2 elixir. Very, very nice play.
And J-Monty is just relentless right now, doing everything he can to keep Royal from playing comfortable, keep Royal from playing another Golem.
Well, he is, by definition, bridge spamming.
And right there, Royal wondering, how did that not pull the Dark Prince to the opposite lane? He thought he had it timed out perfectly. Now he has to defend against that Bandit.
Oh, but Lumberjack going to tower left-hand side. Snowball puts it in.
On the tower. That is going to do it.
Woo!
Wow. Not picking up the Dark Prince was actually maybe the best thing to happen to Royal in that King of the Hill game. Royal finally picking up his first victory here at CRL West. Very important one because it looked like he was still playing a bit shaky. And on the other side of him, you have B-Rad, who not only is looking for his first King of the Hill victory here, but his first CRL King of the Hill victory ever, being 0-4 last season and so far 0-3 this season.
Well, it's one of those things where, you know, oh, here we go. We get to see, this is great. We get to see B-Rad play Miner. I was about to say, he has not had a chance to play Miner a lot. People are going to put him on it. Now we see one of the best, if not the best Miner player on the planet, up against Royal, who could be playing Golem, probably not playing Golem. He does mess with the archetype quite a bit.
Yeah, he definitely does like to keep his opponents guessing with which type of iteration he's going to come out with. And yeah, B-Rad, known for playing Miner by everyone out there. definitely considered the best minor player, I think, in the world. And you see he's got a very fast cycle.
Ram Rider for Royal, so switching things up.
And Royal going all in on this push. Lumberjack behind the Ram Rider. That's a very healthy Lumberjack. You're at 4-8. Oh, wow. And that was a very, very last-second E-Wiz.
Eats a good chunk of damage, but could have been a whole lot worse. E-Wiz Skeletons doing their job and returns in kind there, does B-Rad. Reaching the midway point and Royal ahead, but just by a hair. Minor Control has thus far this season been sort of the superstar of CRL, currently at around a 9-3 with 1 draw so far as an archetype overall.
That Prince pulling the Baby Dragon opposite lane, taking care of the Baby Dragon and the E-Wiz, a very nice trade. However, that is a great bar barrel, forcing a response out of B-Rad.
This deck that B-Rad is playing has been seen 1 time so far this season, and it was a draw. So we'll see if he can...
Oh, that is going to be a big play right there. Lumberjack in on the E-Wiz. A late snowball does not allow the Ram Rider to get to tower, but 1562 on the bottom right, and ignored Miner takes that top left tower down 1830.
And this time E-Wiz, but doesn't pick it up. So just off by a tile or so is Royal on that E-Wiz, down to 1702. Less than 30 remain in regulation time.
And that is a mistake that Royal will not want to make again. Now, it does seem small, but when you have an E-Wiz in hand, you can completely mitigate all of the damage from that Miner.
And that Miner again being left mostly alone.
And look at that, those bats taking out the Baby Dragon, gonna get a few hits in, forcing out another E-Wiz from Royal. Now he's not gonna be able to pick up that Miner unless he drops card right on it.
And there you see Miner to the inside. Yep. So again, nice little juke from B-Rad. We're seeing one of the best at Miner on the planet play very, very well.
And one of the biggest moments for him was switching lanes, deciding to go left when Royal had kind of started to commit right.
Into sudden death overtime, you see Royal trying to maybe get ahead of a Miner there, putting the P.E.K.K.A right in the back. And of course, you'll see he goes to the back again, does B-Rad, Lumberjack behind. So that sequence does work out okay for the Romanian.
Yeah, and this is where things can get dangerous for B-Rad. If he ever misplays his defense in moments like this with a deck like that he's playing here, your opponent can mount such a massive offense, and you just are left wanting. Elixir-wise, defensively, you see he has to drop the defensive Miner, and that's exactly what I was talking about, Rich. This is a lot to deal with, and Royal is not letting off the gas. That Lumberjack is on the tower and going while distracted.
Wow.
That should do it. Oh.
Prince just barely saves the day. Giant snowball comes in on a 314. Ram Rider is not going to get to tower. We are very close. Miner from the back of the tower, most likely. There you go. Not picked up. E-Wiz comes at the top, tries to stop the Prince. Bar barrel.
Oh, and that
doing
Prince
no
could be
duty
getting
whatsoever.
through.
Down to 295. Poison down. Things are very, very tight
Log
here.
is in. That should do it. That should do it. The lightning comes down 7 HP.
What a crazy finish. B-Rad knows how close that was to slipping away, holds off, and takes down Royal.
You know, Rich, we have the luxury of sitting here hanging out with the other players that have matches upcoming or have already played their matches, and I don't think one person in this room knew who was going to take that last game.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like B-Rad had it tied up the entire way through, and then Royal fired back, nearly stealing it, but just out of range. And now it's on the shoulders of young La Picati, who, you know, I'm really excited to see if he has that same attitude and swagger we saw last time out. You know, when he starts to get ahead, and you see already, taking a look, he knows that most likely a mirror match here. Yeah. The question is, you know, is there any variation in the styles they're both playing? We have seen Hog EQ played a bunch. 4 slightly different variations have appeared.
And in general, B-Rad is a more slow and calculative player than Lapacati. Not to say Lapacati, obviously, being one of the best in the world, but seems to be more aggressive, kind of going for the throat, if you will.
Well, he has the benefit of youth and not being afraid of the consequences. B-Rad's been here before and, you know, on one hand has the experience, other hand knows that one mistake can mean so much of a difference. That's a few big swings from the Hog Rider.
And you love that little glance over from Lapacati at B-Rad going, yeah, how'd that feel?
I love the attitude of this guy. I think Lapacati really fits in well overall with the Immortals squad.
100%, and right now he has got a lot on his shoulders, needing to take down B-Rad and Tommy, two of the best in the world, just to push Immortals into that 1v1 set.
So B-Rad gets a couple shots in himself, and now at the midway point of regulation, and things are pretty close to even.
By the end of this season, I want all the memes and all the GIFs of Lapacati's facial reactions.
Just want to set his swaying to some sort of dance tune, to use as my grandfather would describe it.
And a very, very nice late Inferno Tower there to take down that Hog.
So here we are, double elixir time. Just under 200 HP separating these two players.
Lapacati maybe looking to bait out something from B-Rad.
Take a look at B-Rad's handwork playing on the iPad on the left-hand side of your screen. He is mostly a slider. Some tapping as well, but very interesting to play one-handed with a lot of sliding.
A great Earthquake coming in from B-Rad, and that will get a hit on the tower unless, okay,
Ooh,
great last-second snowball.
Dragging, sliding, dragging, however you want to put it.
Yeah, we know what you meant.
You know what I meant. And this time, the Ice Golem does get in front of the Inferno Tower on the other side, but still does not get through. Again, still under 200 HP separating these two players as we move into sudden death.
The Earthquake should come in. There it is. Going to do a great amount of damage on that right-hand tower with that.
And there we go. Lapacati had not done a ton of Earthquake work at this stage so far. There he gets it down. Does not get a swing. The Bar Barrel Snowball combination doing its job.
Kind of just going back and forth, forced to play that Ice Golem to distract that Archer, because that would have gotten a few hundred damage in.
Lapacati cycles back to another Hog.
Yeah, keeping up the pressure. The cycle on this deck is absolutely insane, and we saw Canario really, really play out of his mind with this deck out-cycling last time that he showed up with. I mean, the low-cost cards in this deck make it so that your opponent's defense, you know, a lot of times you can kind of figure out how to defend against what your opponent's win condition is, but the cycle makes that almost impossible with this Hog EQ deck.
This was a massive exchange here for Lapacati. Defended perfectly against the push of B-Rad and got his own EQ damage. Now you see forcing the Earthquake to come out kind of early for B-Rad this time. That Inferno Tower, he's going to have nothing for it. Lapacati, in the last 20 seconds, may have just turned the entire tide of this match.
Yeah, 300 damage each, or 300 HP now separating these two. And every single time that he's going to throw that Earthquake down, it's just pulling farther and farther away from B-Rad. Lapacati cycled all the way back around to his Inferno Tower, which is probably why B-Rad is holding his Hog for the moment.
And that was rough. You saw the Inferno Tower taking out the Ice Golem there, the still alive Inferno Tower, and the EQ not doing its job this time. And this is probably going to be it. It's not, the tower's not going to fall right here. It's going to be very, very hard for B-Rad to have a shot of getting back in this.
Yeah, near impossible. As you see all the way back to his Hog Rider once again. Lapacati cycling quickly, getting the snowball in. Great defense, mitigating almost 100% of that damage.
Inferno Tower barely catches in time, but you see another Earthquake. Lapacati continuing to widen the gap between himself and the Minor Master.
And B-Rad dropping those skeletons right in the middle of that Earthquake. Not the way you want to spend it. It is only one elixir, but it's just not the way you want to spend it.
And look at the archers on the outside there by Lapacati, knowing the EQ was coming down, keeping them healthy, able to do their job. Hog, and on the other side, archers coming down, giant snowball. Earthquake takes it out. This might be a swing.
That is going to do it.
Lapacati takes out B-Rad.
Adding B-Rad to his heads on the wall. Lapacati has now taken down Buffmac, Lindsay, and B-Rad in King of the Hill, and now he's got another legend in front of him in the Nicaraguan Ninja, Tommy.
Buffmac, Lindsay and B-Rad. That is unbelievable. Now, of course, Lapacati did get a #1 and #3 finish on ladder just this last month, and 2 #2 finishes to open up the year. So certainly a talented player, but the question was, would he be talented for this format?
Yeah.
And he's proven so far he does have not just the gameplay, but the swagger to go with it.
Exactly, and that swagger that you talk about is so, so important. You know, we see even veterans having shaky feet as they get into CRL West this season, and Lapacati, whether he's faking it or whether he's actually feeling it, it doesn't matter. It's not affecting him. He shines on this stage.
So, Minor Prince for Tommy. Lapacati, might we be going in a direction that you enjoy?
I believe so.
Oh boy, there it is.
I just love it. And everyone loves watching him play. A master at work. It's like when we watch B-Rad play Minor. When you see, you know, Royal play Golem, Lapacati playing Mortar is one of those special things about CRL West.
Not an easy task for him here, though. Up against Tommy.
Tommy playing very, very well in his last match, taking down Surge TS and Carnage in the King of the Hill sets, but then falling to Wen in the last game and in the 1v1 set for Pain to edge them out.
So you're going to like this stat here, Andrew. Mortarbait currently sitting at a very healthy 60%.
I mean, it's just so good, Rich.
Not annoying at all.
No, not at all.
Minor to the back for Lapacati. Skeleton's late.
Lapacati still has not been touched this game.
Tommy's deck pool has been very deep so far this season.
Ooh, and the nice Minor Poison coming in.
This is the 10th different deck that Tommy has run this season. Of course, he was known for that as well last season when he opened up, I think, with 11 wins with 10 different decks.
And that's a very nice and aggressive Prince player.
Whoa.
The Prince plus the bats, knowing that the EWIS is out of cycle. Tommy has nothing to stop that charge, and that was excellent, magnificent, and perfect from Lapacati. Immortals is going to be going to the 1v1 set. Now the question for you is who is coming out in that set, Rich?
I don't know. I mean, the logic on one hand says put out the veteran Royal. He's been there so many times before. He's got the reps. On the other hand, the hot hand of Lapacati. You can see the kids feeling it right now. Tommy raising his hand here in the final 5 seconds of the game.
Damage already done early on. We will have to see if there is actually any sort of discrepancy that did happen at the end of that game. But Lapacati is playing out of his mind and playing more to the way we expect him to.
Well, discrepancy or not, Lapacati had that thing all the way wrapped up.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful play. And just so comfortable, so excited, smiling on stage. Very effusive, the young Belarusian.
Yes, and here's the moment. Trainer Luis having a fun moment with his team, but now deciding who goes in. As you said, the vet or the hot hand.
It's a really, really tough question. On the other side, you know, you do most likely, you don't have J Monty or B-Rad available for 1v1, so do you put Tommy back out there again who has the experience, or do you try to throw a juke and throw Nitram or Spades?
I honestly think we go Tommy and Lapacati, but there's only one way to find out. 1v1 coming your way.
So, the question we're asking, who's going to come out here? Will it be Lapacati or Royal? Now, Lapacati here has played now 5 games, shown 4 different decks, a bit deeper deck pool than you might imagine. They've gone to Mortar twice. We've only seen, you know, a bunch of games. We've seen like 11 different decks from Tommy,
yeah.
But Spades and Nitram, we've seen very little of either of those 2 players.
And it looks like we will be seeing...
Well, that sure looks like it's...
Oh, wow!
Lapacati comes out for Immortals. Nitram taking the stage for Tribe. So a guy on whom there is not as much data for this particular meta, going for a best of 3 against Lapacati. And the big question is, how deep is Lapacati's deck pool? Or will he just slam Mortar Bait down the throat of his opponent?
That's a great question you ask, Rich. Lapacati has not shied away from the archetype that everyone knows him for, and he's played it basically perfectly. Nitram, on the other hand, has not played in the last 2 matches. In his only head-to-head appearance, he ran up against Oxlet, who was on a sweep in his first match.
Nitram loves playing fast cycle decks.
Ooh.
has been playing a lot of Hog EQ in this current meta. It looks like he might be up against it himself in this case.
Yes, it does look like that, and he's probably very unhappy to see that Earthquake coming in early.
Yeah, a little frustration there. Lapicati going back to the same deck that helped him take down B-Rad a minute ago.
Just played so very well. Mirror matchups are some of the most frustrating in the game, but they also allow you to know exactly the way that your opponent is going to win. It's the same way that you want to. So I always say, what's the worst thing that could happen to me right now? And then I do that to my opponent.
Well, Furnace and Goblin Hut both for Nitram, so that's going to mitigate some of the problem of that Earthquake, giving two different building options to pick up those Hog Riders.
Yeah, interesting to see a kind of a spawner deck here coming out from Nitram.
Well, with the Musketeer, maybe this is a graveyard deck, putting some pressure with the spawners as well.
Great use of the skeletons there to preserve the health of the Archer.
Of course, if I see a Barb Hut, I'm going to lose my mind.
Very curious to see if the Barb Hut makes an appearance at CRL this year. Most likely not. The Barbarians, though, coming down and making very, very quick work of that Hog.
Royal Giant, Furnace, Goblin Hut with Barbarians as well. So this will be very interesting. Notice the Barbarians doing a good job picking up a lot of that early Inferno Tower aggro. Not quite enough to let the RG break through.
Yeah, a lot of answers here in Lapicati's deck. He's got the Earthquake for the spawning buildings. He's got the Inferno Tower for the Royal Giant. And obviously a Hog is a very, very cheap and aggressive card that you can always switch up whichever lane you're focused on.
So Lapicati really not super worried about those Fire Spirits. The Spirit Goblins, though, will get super annoying while you see him putting the Earthquake on the Goblin Hut rather than the Furnace.
And these are the type of decks where you can just all of a sudden find yourself very, very far behind an Elixir spent and also Elixir on the field. So Lapicati's got to be very, very conservative and very efficient with his defense.
Hog all the way outside, does get through, get a shot. Barbarians do clean it up, and while the Inferno Tower is doing its job, still a lot to deal with on the right-hand lane as well. Ice Golem, nice pickup. And this time the Hog Rider does go to the Furnace, although Earthquake gets down, very nicely played, but the double duty done with the Musketeer. Hog Rider not making it to the tower. 10 seconds into sudden death.
Yeah, and forced to use that Earthquake on the opposite tower, the tower he's been focusing on the entire game, not the one that his Hog was currently attacking.
So look at that, double Goblin Huts with the Royal Giant in the left-hand lane and easily slices through that Hog Rider on the right-hand side. Furnace now supporting the Barbarians.
And this is what I was talking about, Rich. There is a lot on the field for Nitram, and Lapicati has to do a lot of defense with only 7 Elixir in hand.
Earthquake comes down. Royal Giant will get at least one shot on the tower, probably a second one as well. Does not get off. Archers do their job just enough. 45 seconds down in sudden death overtime, and Nitram looks like he's taking control. Here you go, some nice Earthquake value, though, for Lapicati in the left lane.
Yeah, getting that Bar Barrel down on top of the Furnace, trying to mitigate some of more of the damage going down the right-hand lane. But the problem is these Barbs, that there is such a great response to that Hog, and Lapicati is either using his Earthquake to take out the Goblin Hut or the Furnace, not the Barbs. He doesn't have a big spell to take out these Barbs.
So there you see the Barb Barrel and a few Cycle cards trying to take care of it, and now Lightning out of Cycle, so we'll be able to take care of that Royal Giant.
A really nice Barbarian Barrel played by Nitram to soak up some of the damage there from the Inferno Tower to preserve the health of the Royal Giant, almost enough to let that Mega Minion get through the tower.
A second Royal Giant, although not a ton to support it. Inferno Tower will get down in time.
High Musketeer is actually distracted by the Ice Golem.
Yeah, that worked out really well for Lapicati.
Yeah, taking a big sigh of relief on that interaction.
One minute left. Remember, this is not lowest single tower. We do need to see a tower down. One draw is possible in King of the Hill. I guess you could have 2 draws technically in the front end.
Yep. Very impressed by Lapicati being able to kind of stay above water in this game against this spawner deck.
So there we go. Royal Giant will get through, taking its first shot,
Oh, wow.
taking a second shot.
Two
This is
shots
huge.
in from that RG. That is massive. And now Lapacati is just a lightning away, and he knows it, giving up that white flag.
I wonder if that was a white flag or if he did not mean to play the earthquake there. On one hand, you're like, oh, that seems, but you saw the sigh from Lapacati, like, oh, no. He might have been trying to make one last attempt at stealing this one away, but he knows now that's all over. Lightning will come in. That is it. Nitram takes game number 1. Game number 2. What kind of adjustments has Lapacati made? We hadn't seen the deck that Nitram ran yet this season in CRL. A very interesting take on that Royal Giant Furnace deck, and you gotta wonder if putting the Goblin Hut in there as well was a bit of a prediction on the kind of decks that Lapacati likes to run.
Yeah, and you see right here, Lapacati running a deck that he loves to run in Mortar.
And I'm gonna bet you dollars to donuts, Andrew, that Tribe knew he was gonna run this deck in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you see the E-Wiz and the Barbell coming down right now. 2 great ways to respond to Mortar. But, again, Lapacati being the best in the world with Mortar, will that matter? And he still did get a shot in.
Got a shot in and Miner on the tower, and Snowball's not going to do much to fix that problem. So down to 1860, and currently Lapacati playing unscathed as the first minute passes.
Prince coming in to slow down and stop that Ram Rider.
And take nice care of the Bandit as well. Miner to the back, most likely. Back inside, and Nitram, there he goes with the P.E.K.K.A. waiting to pick up the Prince rather than spend on the Miner in the back. Very nicely played, but still down to 1192.
Yeah, Nitram saying, look, you got my buddy doing that. It's not going to happen to me. P.E.K.K.A. up high. He'll ignore the Miner. Definitely the better decision. The Baby Dragon being played high right afterwards, seeing to hopefully clean up some of those squishy troops that, undoubtedly would be played by Lapacati. And look at that. Just picture perfect defense.
The kid knows every single matchup you can imagine when it comes to this deck. And you have to go off meta to play something he hasn't seen with this matchup.
Yeah, and those interactions were just, they couldn't have gotten better. It was unbelievable.
Prince just a little late there. You see Lapacati not happy with that result.
But still getting in a couple of big shots from that Mortar. Should stop the charge from the Ram Rider. There it is.
Well, that might be tower down here. Yes, it's going to be. So tower down. Lapacati currently in the driver's seat. Has to deal with this P.E.K.K.A. Baby Dragon combination. E-Wiz behind, but nice placement on the Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very nice placement on the Prince. Not able to catch the Bandit dash, but it doesn't matter. You see Nitram there shaking his head, knowing, all right, you get this one, I'll take the first one. Let's go to game 3.
It's so frustrating when you know what someone's going to play, and there's the attitude from the young kid, throwing out a little bit of BM there. Come on, man, wave the white flag. Well, Lapacati, you have 12 seconds left to play. Not going to be enough either way.
No, very, very well played by Lapacati, playing his comfort deck and just really, really playing it perfectly. Nitram takes game 1, Lapacati takes game 2. We're going to game 3. And now the question on everyone's mind is, does Lapacati just play Mortar again, and then does Nitram hard counter that?
Yeah, I mean, look, you have 2 options if you're Nitram. You either sell out against Mortar, putting Lapacati on it one more time, or you just go anywhere else. But if you don't sell out against Mortar and he plays it, you're at a huge disadvantage.
Yes.
If you do and he doesn't, you're at a huge disadvantage.
Exactly.
It's sort of like the prisoner's dilemma of Clash Royale.
And now we see, okay, obviously a little bit different variant here coming out.
So looking like Minor Cycle potentially for Lapacati. Maybe it's the Musketeer version. Maybe Minor Balloon. And there you go, Mega Knight in the back for Nitram. So, and yes, for Lapacati, looking like it might be Minor Musky Balloon.
Inferno Tower comes down to counter that Mega Knight. Skeletons to distract. Wow, and a big lightning comes in.
Ice Golem, though, sticks that Mega Knight in place, let the Inferno Tower do its job.
And tied up at Elixir.
And it's RG Mega Knight. What a fascinating pair of decks we've seen from Nitram from the opening deck, and then this one here. And the Inferno Tower just too late. Yeah. That's a few big shots.
Maybe thinking Lapicati may play Hog EQ, and this has just become a very, very tough position for Lapicati to be in.
Although, there you go, Musketeer gets, or maybe it was just the Miner getting in. Thought the Musketeer got on tower there. Yeah, the Skeletons are all still alive.
And they will, yep, I was going to say they will demand a response. Still getting one hit in. A big hit. You can hear the other players knowing how valuable those Musketeer, or those Skeleton hits can be.
Every single point of damage matters right now as we enter into double Elixir time.
So now Lapicati has to figure out a way to take out Mega Knights when they're on the field while preserving the health of his Inferno Tower, which essentially means he can't use the Inferno Tower to take out the Mega Knight because a Lightning will come down.
And so, inexpensive balloon push in the opposite lane.
And the balloon does get on tower. One big drop, NATO to King.
You gotta wonder, though, if that shot was worth it. I know the King Tower activation is nice, although the big thing is it will help with the Miner pushes.
Yes, yes. And now, you know, Nitram recognizing I can't just go in with the RG at the river. I've got to mount a big push. And Lapicati, knowing this, he's going to double down with that balloon once again. Ice Wizard played not in the lane that he wants. And another big balloon hit.
Lapicati now in a very, very good position. Just has to deal with this RG push. Lightning comes down.
RG does not get a hit in. Very well defended by Lapicati, who is now in a commanding lead.
Now, if you're Lapicati in this situation, do you still play balloons, or do you just play what he's doing right now, playing the Miner, put the rest on defense?
Yeah, and wow, 234 HP on the bottom right-hand tower. Lightning comes down. RG will get a shot in, a big shot. Miner on the tower, snowball in. A late NATO keeps his tower alive.
50 HP. Lapicati sees to get back around to another Miner.
You know a Lightning's going to come down here for Nitram.
Snowball can do it as well.
Yeah, Snowball does 56 damage. Got to get those cycle cards. There it is. Lapicati takes this for Immortals. My goodness. Nitram looked like he might have his number, but not today. Lapicati doing all the things for Immortals today.
Wow, Lapicati, what a big moment right now, making his early season case for Rookie of the Year. Getting up a couple big wins in King of the Hill to clutch for his squad. Coming out, losing the first game of 1v1, getting the reverse sweep. You can see the smiles on the face of their team. A close loss for Tribe. You felt like Nitram in that first game, taking game number 1 of the 1v1 set, you really felt like maybe he might have it, be able to take the day for himself and for his squad, but Lapicati just so confident, going to Mortar in the second game, Mortar bait, and then game number 3 turns the script on its head, comes out with the Miner Muskie Loon, and it was that first balloon pushed on the right-hand lane that really changed everything.
Yeah, and the moment where the whole match shifted was that mirror matchup against B-Rad, where Lapicati started to hit his stride, and that was such a close matchup. I can only imagine we're going to talk to one person.
I mean, yeah, it has to be him. So let's go down to the floor with Pau, who's standing by with Lapicati.
All right, Lapicati, we're here. Congratulations. Now, I have to say, man, you're like one of the best in the world using the Mortar deck. I want to know, what was that like for you, you know, going up and feeling so confident?
Yeah, I practice Mortar, my Mortar deck, because I think this Mortar is best now. Yeah. And I feel with this deck so good.
Now, also, you had a little team meeting, you know, with Luis here. What kind of adjustments did you guys make going into that next matchup?
I think we wanted to cover our bases against certain decks, and that's why the timeout came in really helpful for us. We made the decision that Loon would be the best thing to go in with that third game. Realistically, we have a lot of faith in him, regardless of the matchup, so we were just comfortable going in with that, knowing that he could just play out the tie, worst case scenario, and then we go to the next game.
And speaking about that, you are extremely confident coming into these matchups. Where does that come from, man?
OP.
All right, that's good enough. You can just say you're OP. So I want to ask you about that matchup with B-Rad. You had a moment to take advantage of that mirror matchup. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think for me, all mirror matchup it's so hard for me, and this mirror matchup it's hard for me. Yeah, but I win because
We trained that mirror matchup a lot, and I think he feels like every mirror matchup is going to be a little tougher because it's a lot more like reactively than it is macro gameplay. So him being such a macro player, he's always aware of a cycle. I think he feels a lot more comfortable playing other stuff besides the mirror matches, but he came out on top because he's still very good.
Yes, he is. And, I'm going to ask you one last question. I want to know, what's it like being on this stage and performing at this level?
oh, no, I don't know. What's
You like being in CRL? Yes. He says that being in CRL is a dream come true and that it's finally an opportunity for him to show that ladder is not the only thing that he dominates. He's out here to show everybody that he's got what it takes to be a champion.
Well, that smile says it all. Well, guys, let's send it over to the desk and hear what we got next.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah,
not only is he a coach, but he is a master interpreter.
Yeah, I mean, all he needed from Lapakati was one word in Belarusian, and he is able to extrapolate, of course, the many sentences of information that was meant by the young star. Long or short of it, Lapakati played great today.
Yes, he did.
He plays Mortar, try to beat him. He doesn't play Mortar, try to beat him.
You play the same deck as him, you still can't beat him.
Unbelievable performance by the young man. Very, very exciting. And again, as I said before, Immortals has to be so pumped up to add this kind. Oh, yeah, is a fantastic player, has had a great season overseas. But, moving in Nitram and moving in Lapakati and the chemistry he has with this squad, just unbelievable. And we still have one more match to go. Let's move into our final match of the day. For our last match of the day, we have the Spanish favorites, Team Queso, last year's EU champions, finally in the win column, up against Energy, which is showing off their 2v2 skills, and with the addition of Thunderstruck, has really taken a big step forward this season.
Yeah, he finally got his feet wet, and as you said, Hazard and Carter have really established themselves as one of the best 2v2 duos in the world, which, honestly, they've been overlooked for a very long time.
Well, now with a little bit more versatility in their team and feeling better heading into head-to-head play, this team has new life breathed into it. So let's welcome our final two squads to the stage as they enter the arena to do battle.
Yeah, the home team today coming out for Caso is going to be Kuchiku, Dark Angel, Benihoo, and Azelis. Now, the home team has taken the first two matches of the day. Let's see if that tradition keeps on.
And of course, in the red, it's Energy, Red Tower, red jerseys heading over to their side. Let's take a look one more time at our rosters heading over to Team Queso. You have, of course, the veterans from last squad, Benihoo and Kuchiku, the addition of the young Dark Angel, and the French OG himself, Azelis, looking to add some more heads to his collection.
And of course, Teramispa is there joining them on the field. An incredible coach, very, very well respected here in the community. And their opponents, as we said, really, really establishing themselves as a 2v2 duo. The newcomer, Thunderstruck, we got Chief J, Carter, and of course, Hazard.
Looking forward to this match. It's a big deciding match for both of these two squads.
And speaking on that, Rich, it is ever important for the standings. This match, Queso being 1-3, this could set them at 1-4 with a match loss, putting them way, way behind the pack. And then, of course, Energy's only played 2 matches, so this is the time to really establish yourself as one of the premier teams here at CRL West.
Interesting to take a look at their positions on the stage. Look at Carter and Hazard on the right-hand side. Carter turned all the way towards Hazard. Wonder if this is helping with some of not just verbal, but non-verbal communication.
It's actually that he only watches the gameplay on his screen.
Oh, okay. That's impressive.
And a lot of the same. We see 3 baby dragons on the field already and an ice wizard.
2 ice wizards and a miner. I am thoroughly shocked, sir.
I just couldn't believe it. And a very nice pickup from the guards there.
Lumberjack Rage not going to do a whole lot. And now a counter push coming
Ram Rider
with the
right
Ram Rider behind, yeah.
So far, both teams playing very, very clean, tied up at 24-50.
It's a true mirror match in the stakes that they both have the exact same towers on the exact same sides. And almost the exact same cards. We'll see if there's a Ram Rider in the future of Team Queso. Unlikely, but
Lightning
very
comes
possible.
Down. Great lightning value from Azelis and Benihoo. And speaking on that, Azelis and Benihoo now, again, Queso needing to change up their 2v2 duo of Benny and Kuchi because they were finding themselves falling a little bit short in the 1v1 set. You just saw a hand go up over on the away side, the energy side. We'll see. Yep, and it goes up again.
Second hand for Carter, so we'll see what League Ops has to say about that, but continue with gameplay for the moment. Lightning comes in, and now you have a raged up Royal Giant going opposite direction. NATO will prevent it from getting any damage.
And runs into a big Mama Pekka.
Get some poison value early, yeah. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Or any non-specific carbonated, sugar-fied beverage.
And a great stop of the Ram Rider there again. However, Azelis and Benihoo taking a lot of damage on that bottom left-hand side, now down to 13-51. And those guards do not get in front of the Royal Giant.
Ice Wiz Lightning do a good combination of slowing down that P.E.K.K.A. and getting a ton out of that Royal Giant. Very well supported by Team Queso.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to fall flat real quick, but that Rage and the Lightning really changed it up.
So minor Lumberjack in, the Ram Rider not going to get to tower though.
Yeah, that Ram Rider having a really tough time.
Team Queso firmly in control right now.
And this is where you'd think a Lightning and a Fireball are going to come down very soon to end this first game.
Lightning and Fireball coming down for energy now. They're trying to pick up the pace.
There's the Lightning, there's the Fireball. Very well played. Now we'll have to see exactly what's going on the energy side.
So our referees, League Operations, took a close look at that, determined there was no significant enough cause to call for a replay. So here we go into game number 2.
And Team Queso taking the second victory Hazard and Carter have only lost one other time, is what I'm trying to say.
There we go. There we go. If you can't say it one way, say it a different way.
That is one thing I've learned about casting.
So Skeleton Barrel does 0. Well, actually, no, it gets a shot.
One baby hit in. And a big Giant Skeleton Royal Giant push coming in for energy.
And that Giant Skeleton is deep on the other side, so Tornado will help. Does stop the RG push, but some pretty deep penetration early on.
And another Skeleton Barrel coming out. A really fun card in 2v2.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we were talking about how the 2v2 meta has really focused around a sort of a limited range thus far. We've seen RG, Ram Rider, the Graveyard decks, some Lava Hound. Golem really hasn't worked thus far with all the options. But this is kind of an interesting thing to throw into the mix, the Skeleton Barrel deck.
Yeah, Zillies and, well, Team Queso, I think at the time it was Benihoo and Kuchiku actually struggled against a deck that was kind of spell baity with Skeleton Barrel in there. And now kind of taking a page from their earlier opponent's book.
Miner to the safe spot one more time. Does Tornado win it back? Interesting choice there from Energy.
Yeah, nice way to just clean up the bats and the mire efficiently. Recognizing that if they wanted to probably activate the King Tower, it would have been more than they'd like to spend this early on.
So here we go. Trying to get through. Poison will clean it up pretty easily.
Yeah, taking out the Dark Goblin, very important.
Well, that was the Team Queso poison, excuse me. So Graveyard Freeze, this one timed fairly well. Giant Snowball Bats do come in and pick up a lot of it.
Oh, and a defensive miner to make sure that Dark Prince does not get on the tower.
Whoa, look at that rascal girl!
Yes, look at that. 1587 on the top right.
Man, she just turns up so quick.
Yeah, if those are tanked for even just a few shots, they just come quick and they are devastating. Miner to tank.
There we go. Yeah, we're both in the same spot there. Miner goes into tank for the skeleton barrel. 30 seconds left in regulation, and currently Team Queso in the lead, looking to potentially take a somewhat unprecedented sweep off of Hazard and Carter.
And a freeze to take out the Inferno Tower from play. We'll get the Royal Giant a couple shots on the tower.
Couple fairly big shots. We haven't seen the Royal Giant Graveyard Freeze combination a ton, but it has appeared once or twice so far this season.
And now comes the King Tower activation. So Skeleton, there we go.
That's a lot of bats, though. Skeletons do come down just in time.
And a late miner to tank for those bats. Poison misses the Dark Goblin. A bit of a misplay from Energy. The DPS on the Dark Goblin is some of the highest in the game.
And there you see, does not work out too well for Energy on that exchange. And nice job of the miner to turn the baby dragon away from the skeleton barrels.
And double skeleton barrel coming down. Both pop pretty easily cleaned up by all those splash troops. And
but that's gonna be a rocket snowball. That is it. Team Queso, clean sweep in 2v2. Very well played, Azealis and Benihoo. King of the Hill, and opening up for Team Queso, it's the new addition to CRL, Dark Angel, facing off against Carter.
Carter 0-2 in King of the Hill so far. Dark Angel 2-3.
So far, Carter has run some lava and some graveyard. A little splash yard for Carter. Dark Angel, we've seen a few different decks, some decent variety. Some lava barbs, some RG furnace, mortar bait, miner musky balloon, and a little bit of ram rider.
Maybe Dark Angel is trying to bait something out there with putting that musketeer right behind the ice golem. I was thinking that was an odd play, but look at that. One bomb drop and a King Tower activation.
So it's an interesting trade, although knowing you're against miner, that's going to help in some ways. Ice Wizard getting taken out by the skeletons. Now miner to the outside, picked up by the skeletons. One more balloon coming in. Mega Minion trying to deal with it. Is Tornado back in cycle? Yes, it is. Well played by the Energy player.
Yeah, very well played there. Yep, that gotta avoid that Mega Minion swing.
So Carter running most likely Royal Giant Miner, which is kind of, yeah, here we go, there's the Royal Giant right as I say it. Very, very interesting construction here. This has become more popular as of late. Dark Angel's Miner Musketeer Balloon deck is seeming to slowly supplant the Miner Rascals Loon deck that was so popular for the last few months.
Yeah, and you see there Carter going to the safe spot, trying to avoid the King Tower damage.
And trying to take out the Musketeer with his Miner, but Dark Angel picks it up nicely with his skeletons. So solid defense in that exchange by Dark Angel, currently in the lead as we go into our final minute of regulation.
Great pickup there. Carter recognizing that Angel will probably go to the same spot again.
Although now that the King Tower is already activated, you have to wonder if Dark Angel might be better served by mixing it up at this stage.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, that's the outside of range spot, but...
Yeah, I would think that he'll maybe try to go back there every other time or so. He can't just keep going to the same spot.
There you go, Miner to the outside back.
Miner got a lot of hits in, focusing all of his attention on the balloon, which makes sense, but that Miner did do very well for Dark Angel.
Beautiful prediction Miner from Carter to get the aggro for the Inferno Tower. Fireball comes in, RG on the tower. Very, very well played sequence there by Carter.
Yeah, that's when Dark Angel goes, all right, maybe I need to change things up a little bit.
So nothing in cycle to truly pick up the Miner, a couple of big swings. So now you gotta wonder if we're gonna change up, yeah, there you go, changing up the placement of the Inferno Tower after that last pickup by the Miner. Dark Angel knows he got caught on that last exchange, changing his defense, varying the way that, look, you know when the RG comes in that he's gonna be playing Inferno Tower. And you know the Inferno Tower doesn't have a ton of options of placements, but even just a few tiles difference.
And Carter taking advantage of all the minor misplays or opportunities, I should say, that Dark Angel is giving him.
Now at 860 is Dark Angel. Carter making this much closer.
Once again.
And Barb Barrel behind to pick up as well. RG is gonna get through and get maybe one shot here. Yes, it does. Fireball in down to 405. Carter suddenly in the lead as we have 1:50 left in overtime.
And you see Dark Angel kind of shaking his head there, wondering what is going on right now.
And Carter does RG's right back up. Miner to the back. This is a bit of a race here. Does he have NATO in cycle? Not a ton to play defense with.
Yeah.
The Miner gets picked up by
Whoa,
the...
he misses the NATO! A huge missed NATO, but still gets lucky enough that bomb does not drop from the balloon.
Wow, and now he's just, you see him cycling cards in the back, trying to get the Miner and the NATO at the same time. ISO is in, Miner onto the tower here of Dark Angel.
Fireball in, wow!
Carter does pull it off, wow!
Couple of big misplays from both of these guys, but Carter ends up on top.
Up next for Team Queso, Kuchiku, who's taken a back seat from 2v2 for the moment, keeping him ready for 1v1. And if things keep going like this for Carter, if Lady Luck keeps giving him her blessing, we might be seeing that set.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable exchange in that last game. I mean, when he missed the NATO, it looked like it was over. Looked like there was no coming back. He had some amazing heads-up plays throughout, but just barely getting an edge on Dark Angel.
Well, he had some big plays in there, too. Of course, we talked about that Miner pickup on the Inferno Tower. There was the Musketeer being protected by the Snowball.
Yeah. You know, Carter had issues in the 2v2 set. He raised his hand twice, and his team got swept. You know, that's when you really got to respect the mental toughness of these athletes and exactly what they're doing here at CRL. It's very tough. There's a ton of pressure, and wow, that is a huge opening for Carter.
Yeah, wow, just the Lumberjack went to the Royal Giant, still got shots off, Miner to the back. Look, you're playing Golem. You know you're going to eat some shots, but that was probably more than Kuchiku thought he was buying.
Yeah, I mean, Kuchi should be taking damage to conserve Elixir, and that right there was just a real rough exchange for him.
So Carter does have the Ice Wiz NATO combination to slow down and frustrate some of this Golem push, although NATO high to get the Ice Wiz off the board.
Yeah.
Nice play by Kuchiku.
Very nice from Kuchi. Oh, and that last skeleton does not pull the baby dragon over.
Lumberjack coming in, Ice Wiz forced to be played, but that's going to be now more than Carter was hoping to pick up in that situation.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage in.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow. Tower almost down to 206. Kuchiku very happy. You know, he invested a penny and came out with $100.
Yeah, that was a real rough. I mean, the NATO fireball coming in for Carter, you recognize that's not really the best way you want to play defense in that moment. You saw the skeletons not pulling the baby dragon to opposite lane, just a lot of things not falling his way.
Carter immediately trying to punish the Golem behind King Tower. He will get a lot of damage here, and now it is Kuchiku in trouble on both sides, but with that huge lead on the right-hand lane, he knows he always has the option of finishing that off.
And there's the kite he's looking for. Lumberjack comes in, cleans it up very quickly.
A much better defensive sequence by Carter. but he knows he has to get a tower down before time runs out, or that's going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, you see that they're at 1,000 or 1,200 HP, but that's still a lot of HP he's got to take down, whereas Kuchiku, 206.
Lumberjack comes in immediately. Barbarrel tries to pick it up. Miner to the back of the tower, picked up somewhat by the Mega Minion, does some damage though. RG needs one more big shot here. Second one. So here we go, the lightning coming to the right-hand side.
That's gonna do
Nothing
it.
for Carter, that is it. Kuchiku evens things up.
And now Thunderstruck coming out 1 and 2 in King of the Hills so far, going up against Kuchiku. We've got the new versus the vet.
And Thunderstruck's finally sporting the St. Andrew's cross on that chest, so able to rep his home country of Scotland up against Kuchiku, the Spaniard.
Yeah, and Kuchi played that last match very, very well. You knew the lightning was in hand. You knew that Carter had nothing left. Very, very close to stealing it at the end, but not quite.
Miner directed to the Musketeer on the front end. Will take her out with one more shot. Not going to get it, though.
And a big push here coming for Kuchiku. Cleaned up very nicely by the combination of a bar barrel and a tombstone.
So first minute down, not much has taken place so far. You see Kuchiku kind of considering his options for the moment. Sometimes these slow moments can be so frustrating as a player. You want to get moving, but you know you have to be patient.
Yeah, you got to really analyze your opponent. Musketeer played a little high.
Dark Princes trade their shields. A little support here from the Baby Dragon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we haven't seen this Miner construction yet this season. Miner Dark Prince have appeared together, but was in a Miner Double Prince deck.
You see Kuchi just doing what he can to get that tombstone out of play.
And Kuchiku does raise his hand, but gets back into gameplay. A second hand raise.
While dropping the P.E.K.K.A. Prince comes down to protect the Musketeer. Very important, however, will go down with that poison.
And that Dark Prince is being stuck behind the P.E.K.K.A, eating a lot of damage. So far, a very slow, methodical game from both players, even with Kuchiku playing the bridge spam, although now that he's pecking up on the right-hand side. And it is Lava Miner here for Thunderstruck.
Interesting lava deck here, having a lot of answers to the ground, which is very fortunate.
You know what, we have seen this deck before this season. And at the moment, this particular construction has gone 0-1.
And look at that battle ram to tower. A low tombstone misses the pickup, allowing a decent amount of damage in. Nothing crazy. However, on the bottom right, Kuchiku goes down to Leet.
Down to Leet, yes. That's currently the number of unread emails I have on my phone.
You make me sick.
If you think I'm joking, I'll post a picture about it.
And the Musketeer comes out on top. Prince does not get on top of the Musketeer, however. Looks like Kuchi will lose the battle at the bridge.
30 seconds into sudden death, overtime. Thunderstruck currently in a good spot. Kuchiku now putting pressure on the opposite lane. And another hand raise from Kuchiku here.
Yeah, you can see that he's starting to get pretty frustrated with it.
So Kuchi doing everything he can to make sure the gameplay takes place on this left-hand side. Does not want Thunder to keep pressuring that right lane.
Miner in the back once again to kind of keep up with the cycle of this bridge spam deck.
Yeah, wants to pick up that bandit, got way ahead of it.
Ooh, and the P.E.K.K.A. to protect the Musketeer. Kuchi's been trying so hard to protect his Musketeer this entire game, but Thunderstruck has been doing a great job of keeping it out of play.
And look at that, the Battle Ram helps out as well. Musketeer lasts for quite a long time, and now this P.E.K.K.A.
wow,
engager getting on the tower. Bandit dash,
That's going to be towered down. There is no way he's going to get out of this alive.
Kuchiku, despite the challenges, comes out on top. One more player to go through in this King of the Hill.
And now Hazard is all that stands between energy and a clean sweep from Team Queso.
It would be a big shift for Team Queso after starting their season with so much difficulty to come out here and take this in 5 straight, or I guess there was one loss they had Dark Angel opening up, but in 5 out of 6 games would be a very, very big win for them.
You know, Tiramisu said this to us last year. He was like, you know, a lot of people sleep on Kuchiku, but he is one of the best head-to-head competitive players in the world with some of the most experience of anyone out there.
Well, not quite as outspoken as some of his teammates, especially the ones he was mixed with last season.
Yep.
Kind of content to be a role player on the squad, but a very, very talented Clash Royale player.
Good poison there for Hazard.
Muskie immediately, knowing that poison's gonna be out of the way. So Minor Prince, maybe the Spirit Goblin variant from Hazard. Kuchiku meeting him with the Dark Prince. Barb Barrel gets behind.
We've seen this deck only fall once at CRL West, and that was earlier today.
Yeah, currently sitting at 8-1. Minor control overall being super dominant at this stage of the season.
And I was going to say, you're probably going to start to see Kuchiku play that Tombstone behind the tower, still giving poison value though, so it is frustrating, but that's going to be one of his best ways to catch that Minor.
So first Graveyard down, and Freeze comes in as well. Barb Barrel doing what it can, but that's still a lot of damage, and more importantly, a lot of elixir spent in defense.
And that Barbarian turns around just long enough to allow that Mega Minion hit in, a big Mega Minion hit.
So the lead that Hazard built now evaporates in a sea of spawning skeletons. Double elixir time.
Very high Inferno Tower. I was going to say, yes, a Tombstone. I love that play. That is the play to get the Inferno Tower off the map and become a non-factor. Now you can save the poison to clean up all those squishy troops on the other side of the map.
And the Muskie just barely survives, forcing the Prince out of Hazard. That was everything went Kuchi's way in that last 15 seconds.
And the Dark Prince ends up not coming around in time, so an Ice Golem has to be dropped by Kuchiku.
Both players with some frustrated gestures. Minor to the safe spot, picked up by the Dark Prince. And here we go, Graveyard number 2, poison down.
Turns the Prince around, however, so another card, the Barb Barrel comes in to stop that Dark Prince.
And Dark Prince has a little splash damage as well. Very, very nice work, down to 860. Kuchiku still holding on to a lead, so with 2 Princes on the board, now Hazard tries to spread the field.
This should be relatively easy for Kuchiku to clean up. Prince does get one big stab in with that Lance.
That was a big shot, and Kuchi was forced to spend quite a bit to defend, still slightly ahead on Elixir.
Minor in. I do not like that Minor play right now.
Bats and Barb Barrel, though, cleaning up a lot, but maybe not quite as much. You gotta wonder if maybe Hazard was just saying, this is the time I need to take a risk and change something. Here you go. Now Minor to the back. Mega Minion cannot pick it up. Spear Goblin's blocked by the Ice Golem.
424 HP remains on that tower, so you gotta think these Graveyards and Freezes are just gonna keep coming down.
And this time, Poison completely in cycle, but some of those skeletons spawn a little bit too close.
A big, big skeleton hit there.
Freeze is in, down to 122. forced to stop the Mega
and
Minion.
Hazard knows it is over. So Team Queso, as you said, really struggling to hit their rhythm, find their momentum coming into this season. And now they will be at 2 and 3. Energy 1 and 2.
That's a big win for Team Queso. Kuchi definitely in control, adding some very nice wins to his season, expanding his King of the Hill record to 5 and 1.
And even though Kuchi can always play in the King of the Hill set, regardless of him being in the 2v2 set, he was 1 and 6 in 2v2 games, Rich. You think that's probably going to be a blow to your confidence, to your ego, to your rhythm moving into the second set. And now that you have him doing what he does in King of the Hill, available in 1v1, this is the moment for Queso to turn their season around. Now, I know it's early, but this is when it needs to happen.
That absolutely needs to happen right now. You know, 3 losses is not an insignificant number at this stage in the season. They're still below 500, but a lot of Clash Royale left to be played. This kind of play is what they need for the next few weeks.
And this is what Team Queso does with their incredible support staff, their incredible coaching staff. This is what they do. They adapt, they adjust, and they evolve.
Well, we talked about that before. Team Queso mixing things up a lot last season, stayed unpredictable. Of course, ran roughshod over the EU, and here they do it again. Let's go down to the floor where Pau is standing with our winners.
All right, I got Kuchi Ku over here representing Team Queso. Congratulations, felicidades. I want to ask you, you took out Carter, Thunderstruck, and Hazard. You know their styles really well. What changed in knowing how you were able to take them out? Sabiendo que, lo sacaste a Carter, Thunderstruck y Hazard, ¿cómo sabías si en el estilo para ganar a ellos?
Básicamente, bueno, tanto tenemos analistas como Termispa, nuestro coach, que nos ha ido indicando más o menos por dónde tirar. Él pues sabía perfectamente qué estilo de mazos iban a jugar, nos lo ha dicho, entonces hemos cogido de jugar en nuestro confort y sacar al partido e ir adelante.
¿Quién te gustó a ganar de todos esos 3?
El que más me costó yo creo que fue Thunderstruck en la segunda partida porque, bueno, tuve problemas también allá arriba, creo, de lag. Y aparte de eso estuvo bastante ajustado.
So I asked him, out of all the players, having to take all those 3 out being very difficult, but he was able to take them out because he has his analysts and he has his team to kind of overanalyze what they need to do and to strategize. But then I asked him, who he felt was the hardest, and who'd you say?
¿Perdón? ¿Cómo?
¿Quién era el más? Sí.
Para mí fue Thunderstruck.
So Thunderstruck, so that was the one to be challenged. And this is my final question for you. I want to know, you guys have had a little bit of a hard time, getting your momentum into this game. What changed today? Now, había un poquito de dificultad entrando aquí hoy día. ¿Qué cambió y incluso para ganar hoy día?
Bueno, venimos de 3 derrotas, 1 victoria, con lo cual no es fácil enfrentarse a eso, ya que hay que empezar a subir ya en la clasificación. Nosotros yo creo que estamos preparados, seguimos entrenando fuertemente, duramente, y yo creo que no hemos hecho nada diferente a lo que hemos hecho las otras semanas, sino darle más duro y con más ganas.
Well, there he said, it's just focusing and making sure that they actually can do it with a lot of guts. So there we have it, Kuchi Ku. Congratulations. We're going to send it over to the dust. I can't wait to hear what they think about this.
So there you have it, a great performance by Kuchi Ku, who is obviously excited to get his team in the win column one more time. And it was a great day all the way top to bottom, especially for teams that were looking to fight their way back into the standings. And we saw some huge results, of course, Misfits opening up the day with their win.
Yeah, we see right here, Misfits finally taking their first win, a sweep over Cream Esports. Immortals back on top, 2-1 over Tribe Gaming. And again, another sweep to close out the day. Team Queso 2-0 over Energy.
Yeah, a couple of big sweeps during King of the Hill, and of course, a lot of fun watching La Picati with that win in the 1v1 set, having a great time. And of course, that's going to move Immortals, Misfits, and Team Queso all up the ladder.
Yeah, we see Immortals back on top where they finished last season. Next up, we have Pain Gaming and Cream Esports. The Latin American rivals are at 2 and 3. Team Liquid and Complexity are tied 2 and 1 in 4th and 5th place. We got Fnatic and Tribe Gaming at 6th and 7th and 2 and 3. Team Queso nipping at their their heels as well. SK Gaming only 2 matches under their belt in 9th place. And at the very bottom of the charts, we got Dignitas finally falling to 12th because Misfits got their first win. And you see right there, Energy in 10th place at 1 and 2.
So teams now starting to get into the mix with 4 or 5 games. Of course, there's a lot more left to be played. You can catch all the action here on Wednesdays from 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and of course, Saturday and Sundays we're here 10 a.m. So make sure you wake up early enough if you're on the West Coast. And over there on the right-hand side of the country, 1 p.m. Get a nice little lie-in there on the weekend after your big, busy week. It's been a lot of fun here. We can't wait to be back with you again this weekend. I'm Rich Slayton, that's Andrew Guy, and I am the only person in America who has yet to see Endgame.